Look, I've been up since like 3 a.m. I don't hear the hate, what y'all say ain't in. All I know is go, all I know is grind. I'm on your head, all I know is climb. Just know I'm different. If I see the target, just know I'm gon' hit it. I don't know the fake, just know I live it. Anything I say, just know I'm in it. I know the ops and they lightweight. I'm in the zone and I might stay. Yeah, I'm on in the right way. Check the scoreboard, look who I play. They say sky the limit, that's too low for us. We showing up in the nosebleeds of the galaxy. When you think it's great, look, it's actually me. Yeah, it's actually me. Might just pull up on some nonsense. Ain't no limits on my conscience. I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. Stop us. I don't think nothing can stop us. Ain't none of y'all about to stop us. Might just pull up on some nonsense. Ain't no limits on my conscience. I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. Stop us. I don't think nothing can stop us. Ain't none of y'all about to stop us. Nothing can stop us. Ain't none of y'all about to stop us. Nothing can stop us. Ain't none of y'all about to stop us. Might just pull up on some nonsense. Ain't no limits on my conscience. I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. Stop us. I don't think nothing can stop us. Ain't none of y'all about to stop us.
Welcome to Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. My name's Jake. Boy howdy, has it been an interesting prep session for today's show. One of those things where you start thinking you're going to talk about one thing. You wind up on a very different path. It's kind of the fun thing with the news. It's just a little pinch of investigation and a whole lot of adjusting autofocus, turning it off. And yeah. Anyway, so there's a whole lot of stuff happening in Trump world, in the American criminal justice system, and with our national security. I think you guys got to hear about it. Let us get started proper. So it's known already that Trump stole national security documents. He stole top secret documents. Classified documents is what you hear on the news all the time. That's accurate, but it goes above that significantly because included in the documents he stole are ones labeled with TS and ones labeled with SCI. Now, if you're a regular fellow like me, the difference might not be significant. But TS stands for top secret, which you can tell already what that means. It is regular folks aren't supposed to have them, aren't supposed to see them, maybe not even supposed to know they exist. The SCI, though, that is a whole nother level. That stands for sensitive, compartmented information. This means that they are so sensitive that they can only be viewed in a room that is specifically designed to protect secrets. So you don't get to walk into the room, pick up the SCI documents, and then walk back to your office. No. You view them in the room, which is built to protect secrets. When I said Trump could no longer have access to those documents by voting for Joe Biden, by sucking up my distaste for the man and voting for Joe Biden, that made Trump a private citizen, no different than you or me, theoretically. When you or your friends said Trump could no longer have access to that room with those documents, you made it so that it was illegal for him to go into that room, much less go into that room, take out the documents, and take him to his beach home in Florida. Let's have a gander at what a SCIF is, because I'll tell you, folks, I did not know this, and I'd like to show you.
What's the SCIF really like? Some classified information is so sensitive it can't be discussed outside a SCIF, a sensitive compartmented information facility. SCIFs are rooms or buildings specially built with highly technical countermeasures designed to prevent eavesdropping. They are built to specific acoustic specifications, typically designed without windows, and have a litany of other measures built into their access and electronics. Some even have their very own tinfoil hats. Okay, not really, but some SCIFs have metallic radiant barrier foil to shield radio frequencies, which is basically the same thing.
Okay. Wrap your mind around that for a moment. Imagine how sensitive a document has to be. What kind of things are contained in that document? So that the government builds an entire room to contain it and work with it. This is like nuclear secrets type stuff. This is names of spies out in the field type stuff. As a very wise man named Bo of the Fifth Column, the wonderful YouTube channel, said, this is spy movie stuff. Now imagine those documents are in Mar-a-Lago, where a Chinese national, Yijing Zhang, talked her way in. When she was found out and arrested at Mar-a-Lago, she had a thumb drive with malware on it. That ain't good.
If you want to access, store, or discuss classified information, you'll need to be in one of these safe rooms to do so. Leave your tech at home. The purpose of a SCIF is to keep information safe, which means you can't bring any information in or out of the SCIF. Several common items you're used to carrying must be left at home or in your car. Some items are prohibited for obvious reasons. You could use your cell phone to record conversations or snap pictures of documents, all prohibited behavior.
Nobody is confiscating cell phones at Mar-a-Lago.
But you also can't bring your smartwatch, a thumb drive, or your laptop. Anything blue.
Can't bring your thumb drive. Yijing Zhang did, apparently. Sure hope they got her before she snatched up a document.
Bluetooth enabled also needs to stay away. You might be a little more difficult to get a hold of than you're used to, but it's just one of the ways a security clearance might change your life. While you're leaving your tech at home, you are also leaving your work at work. The bright side of working in a SCIF is that your work must stay there.
And then they go on to talk about how because this is for people that are considering working in a facility that would have a SCIF. They go on to talk about how you're not able to take anything out of it, thus you can't work at home. The rest of the video is not as relevant. Talks about COVID, things like that. You know, the details of how that works in the modern era, because Republicans decided we weren't going to beat this disease. They decided they want us all to be diseased forever. Great job, you idiots. Anyway, so So Trump took these documents. This is old news in the Trump era, where there is a new crime discovered daily, literally this week, literally daily, actually. But boy, it's leading somewhere kind of terrifying. The most recent development in the case happened on December 9, because on December 7th, a team hired by Trump discovered 2 more documents that were missing. Now, bear in mind, back in May, Trump's team said that they had returned all the documents. Very interestingly, nobody was willing to sign anything officially saying, yes, they are all back. Certainly not as lawyers. So on December 9th, the Department of Justice did something unusual. Now, bearing in mind how sensitive these documents are, let me just paint the picture for what would normally happen. You're a normal citizen and you take one of these, you're not even going to jail. You're going to a basement. Because this is the kind of thing, you refuse to give them back? Oh my God, this is the kind of thing they handle with a chair, some handcuffs, a towel, and a hose. That's how they handle the theft of these types of documents. An SCI document is that serious. So there was a request by the DOJ to the judge in the case to hold Trump's organization, not even Trump himself. My God, they are cowards. But Trump's organization, his office, I believe they're calling it, in contempt. Let's go over to our preferred union background. There was a request to the judge to hold him in contempt. Shockingly, the judge said no. Let's see what NBC had to say about it. It's enlightening.
A federal judge deciding not to hold Trump attorneys in contempt, basically rejecting a request from the Justice Department to do this because those lawyers didn't comply with the subpoena back in May to hand back documents marked as classified that the former president had in his possession. A spokesperson for Mr. Trump saying in a statement, the president and his counsel will continue to be transparent and cooperative, even in the face of what the spokesperson called the highly weaponized and corrupt witch hunt from the DOJ. That is language we have heard from the Trump team before. The Department of Justice has no comment as this news, again, just breaking in the last couple of minutes or so. Ken Dilanian is joining us now. So what was interesting, it's not like we could watch this go down. This was behind closed doors. NBC News was part of a coalition of outlets that had sought to make this public, right, that had sought to have access to it. Talk about what happened today, why this matters here. It all centers around this kind of hot potato, right? Yes. Like, will these Trump attorneys sign a document saying, yes, we've given everything back? It seems like people don't want to do that.
And we have to be a little careful because there's a lot we don't know. But what we're able to report is that the judge did not grant the Justice Department's request to hold the Trump team, the Trump office of the former president, in contempt of court for noncompliance with the subpoena. We don't know what other conditions she may have imposed.
So he just hit on something very interesting there, and they're going to glide past it. But all we know from that interaction is that the judge said, no, the court is not your relief here. Again, head nod to Beau of the Fifth Column. He has, and I've linked the video in the description here. He has an amazing video talking about why that may not be the W that your psychopath relatives who watch Fox think it is. Because, in essence, and I've done a separate video that touches on this briefly, but in essence it says that may be the judge saying, DOJ, you have to do your damn job. Go get him. If you think he's got him, go get the documents. One can only hope. However, it's already been days, plural, multiple days have gone by. I haven't heard about Trump having his face slammed up against the hood of a police cruiser and his hands cuffed behind him. So maybe they're just going to let the documents go. Maybe they're just going to let our national security secrets fall into the hands of whoever. And boy, have we got an interesting hook coming up on that. Let's finish hearing this man out.
It feels like she's telling this two sides to figure it out among themselves. This whole thing, I got to say, Hallie, is perplexing to me because it seems like, I've never seen this before where the government has a search warrant in a case with probable cause to believe a crime has been committed to find some classified documents. But then in another context, they're asking a judge for a contempt order. Apparently they still think there are classified documents out there. They have an existing grand jury subpoena, but I guess they don't have enough evidence to go do another search. I mean,
that's what's confusing to you, is if they thought there was still more stuff out there. Could this be just punitive, though? Could this be just...
Okay, so I don't love, I'm sorry, her name escapes me, this reporter's devil's advocate playing, because it is very much not punitive. I know she's teeing up the question. She knows what the answer is going to be. Generally, I think I've seen her before. I think she does a pretty good job. But even playing with that, of course not. These are SCI documents. These are kick in the door, everybody get on the ground, turn over every piece of furniture till you find them. Documents. Got only a little bit left on this clip. I'm gonna play it.
It's an instance from the DOJ where they feel like, hey, you didn't tell us the whole truth, and now we're gonna ask the judge for this.
Yeah, but in a situation where you've already done a search, normally in a case like this, you would indict the defendant. If you thought the defendant was still withholding classified information, and you already had evidence that they improperly took classified information to their home, you wouldn't be, messing around with a judge in front of a grand jury. It's very perplexing. It suggests that the Justice Department has not been able to connect Donald Trump personally to these documents.
So this was my next question for you, which is what is the implication for the former president himself here? Because as you rightly note, what was involved today was not him himself. It was sort of the office of the former president. Right.
Okay. Very strange that this guy brings up not being able to connect Donald Trump personally. Who else could have got them? How did they wind up at his home? Who else had the ability to go into a White House skiff, take these documents? Among the it's a sarcastic question. It's beyond rhetorical. It's dripping with sarcasm. Obviously, Donald Trump did this. And by the way, he admitted to taking them publicly. How can I get away with saying Donald Trump stole these documents? Because Donald Trump said he stole these documents. It's that easy. Have they not been able to connect him personally to the missing documents? Therein is the question he's asking. It's got terrifying implications. So what the DOJ is saying here is there are missing documents, and they don't know where they are. Why didn't they get another search warrant? Because they don't know where they are. What are you going to do? You're going to search every Trump property? There's a lot of them. He's been a corrupt man in a corrupt country for, how old is he? 1,000 years. I think he's 78. He's got a lot of properties. So if this dude has them stowed away somewhere, DOJ has got to guess where it is. But there are even more terrifying implications because they could be on no Trump properties. In fact, Trump might not have them anymore. Yeah. We're going to go into that in a moment. Let's finish this up.
Right, and they're trying to get, as you alluded to, they're trying to get the lawyers to certify that, in fact, all the documents have been turned over. And for reasons that are obvious to both of us, none of the lawyers appear willing to do that, because how would they possibly know? And Trump has a history of not being straight with the people who work for him. But it's also true that in many of these cases, as we talked about the Mueller situation, the Trump Organization case, Trump's distance from the actions that are taken on his behalf have saved him in these investigations. Trump Organization case.
Oh, darn. Hey, there we go. I like the white background. Okay, so the question becomes, where are these documents? The fact that he took them in the first place, he ought to be under arrest already for that. The DOJ going as their solution to finding that not all the documents have been returned, going to a judge and asking to hold Trump in contempt, or Trump's office in contempt. That is demonstrative of how cowardly and how corrupt America is right now. We are living in an absolutely tragic era. The fact that this man has been asked politely, and then the consequence for not complying with returning the SCI documents, with returning classified documents, the consequence for him being that they ask tersely to a judge. It's pathetic. It's so weak. It's hard to wrap your mind around if you're a regular person, because we actually have to deal with consequences. I get pulled over, I get a speeding ticket, and I don't pay it. I get a warrant for my arrest. Next time I'm pulled over, I'm put in cuffs. Same with you, man. We don't get passes like this. If you're a Republican politician, you can get 7 people killed on January 6th. Nothing happens to you. You steal the most sensitive documents America has. You can steal national secrets and just decide not to return them, even though they know you took them. No consequence. You can do something about this. We're going to get to it. So this brings up a lot of very interesting questions. Hold up, I'm pulling up Uncle Sam. This brings up some very interesting questions. All the answers for them are terrible. The main questions are, hey, why does the government think the documents are still missing? Do the documents recovered reference information the government can't find? For example, you have a multi-set page of instructions, and it says reference table on page 3, and you go page 2, page 4, page 5, where's page 3? It is entirely conceivable that there are no electronic backups of some of this stuff for security reasons, meaning that if they're gone, they might be no longer knowledge that America possesses, because some criminal prick just took them. Can't go unanswered. It simply cannot. Why didn't the judge hold Trump's team in contempt? I take it back. I said all bad answers. There might be a good one for this. Watch Beau of the Fifth Column's video, but essentially it does boil down to the judge insisting that the DOJ, quite possibly it boils down to the judge insisting that the DOJ do their job, so that the government must then choose between pressing charges on this man, finally, or letting those secrets go forever And I'll tell you, if they have the option to just let him go, they'll take it. Oh, yeah. I believe even Bo disagrees with my opinion here, but all history that I've seen, if they get the option to just forget about this, they will. They do not want to do their job if their job isn't putting their feet on the necks of black people. If it's arresting a rich Republican, if it's enforcing the laws when conservatives break them, they will absolutely take any opportunity not to do their job. What you can do about that is, of course, contacting your representative, letting them know that you want action taken. What you can do about that is contacting the Department of Justice. Let them know you see them. Their main strategy is to hope the American public forgets about these things. Time and time again, we see that. You ever wonder why it takes years and years to see the resolution in a rich person's case? It's because they use time to make you forget. They keep playing the delaying game. Here is the all scary answers question. Where are the documents right now? We got reason to believe they're missing. Clearly the DOJ believes they're missing. This might seem silly, but Department of Justice. For people who are newbies to political news, the Department of Justice, our law enforcement branch of government, believes these documents are missing. Well, you remember Yu Jingzhang, the Chinese national that infiltrated Mar-a-Lago, had a thumb drive in a place where there were documents that are not supposed to be around a thumb drive? I don't even frankly think that this person specifically took them. But it's demonstrative of how easily someone might have. That was the person that we caught. How many people sweet-talked their way in there or just bought a membership? Walked in, found a room full of boxes, and said, oh, yeah, here we go. We're in pretty big trouble if that is what happened. The possibility is there that Trump has not returned them because he cannot. Why wouldn't you if you're Trump? You're already caught. The gig is up. They figured out, you got him. Why wouldn't you just return them then? That's why. Because you can't. Because you don't have them anymore. That's a real good reason. Another reason, oh my gosh, my fingers are crossed for this. Another reason might be that he is not able, not that he's not able. Another reason might be that he's just not willing to return them. He does, I wish I would have got that picture of him in the truck. He does like to play. He literally like playing house, but he plays businessman. It's possible he just held on to them because he had deluded himself into genuinely thinking he was going to set up a new capital in the South, and he was going to have his own national security documents so he could feel like a real president again. Maybe. That's what I'm hoping. I think that's unlikely, but man, I hope that's the case. In which case, they might be found eventually. Then there is what I think to be a more realistic answer to that question. Where are the documents? Who's got them now? You might be aware of one of Trump's properties. So it was because he sold it, a hotel in Washington, D.C. that was largely seen as a terrible investment. It was seen as a terrible investment because that's what it was, and Trump lost millions on it. And he sold it this year. Let's have a gander here at a Washington Post article about it. When Donald Trump offered to spend $200 million overhauling one of Washington's most treasured historic buildings into a luxury hotel a decade ago, competitors and critics scoffed. Trump, they asserted, could never operate a hotel profitably after paying so much. Turns out they were right. The hotel posted millions in losses over 4 years, according to financial documents Trump's company provided to the government that were released by the House Oversight Committee in October. All right, so we have now a very bad investment. Rachel Maddow should have grabbed that video too. Rachel Maddow did a wonderful story on that particular rental purchase, highlighting what a bag on Trump's hip it was. In fact, it was pretty much set to fully drain all of his finances this year. He needed to unload it quick because he couldn't make money on it. It was run by Trump, so obviously it was run badly. He's hemorrhaging money every year on it. He's lost money on the years he's had it, even when he was president. And just being president and forcing people to stay at, like when he charged the Secret Service 3 times too much to stay at his hotels, when he could literally force business into his hotels, he still managed to lose money on it. This guy's a moron. And it was that bad of an investment. But he managed to unload it in 2022 when he still had classified documents. But the former president's company recently signed a contract to sell its lease of the historic old post office pavilion to Miami-based investment firm CGI Merchant, which hopes to turn the property into a Waldorf Astoria in partnership with Hilton Worldwide, according to 3 people familiar with the arrangement who spoke on condition of anonymity to share the details of the transaction. One of the people said the price was $375 million. $375 million, which would eclipse the previous record for hotel sales in Washington. It would eclipse the previous record for hotel sales in Washington. In other words, they paid an unusually high price for a hotel that was performing badly. It was seen as a bad investment by many. In fairness, the hotel market has gone up. It's gone up because as the pandemic is ending, is perceived to be ending. Really, as we're just accepting that all of us are going to catch COVID a couple of times a year now because of Republicans. But anyway, there's an anticipation in increased profits. Enough to justify $375 million on an underperforming hotel? I don't think so. And certainly, it's CGI Merchant, by the way, a Miami-based company. They have enough employees that they would have been able to do just a little bit of research on this hotel. They would have known they could have got it at a pretty cheap price. They would have known that Donald Trump was desperate to unload this thing. Why would they even make the offer? $375 million. That's too much money, in other words. That's a suspicious amount of money. Also, pausing to say this is merely something that might have happened. Not the purchase. That definitely did happen. But the point I'm getting to. I am not suggesting that I know what these people did. I'm simply saying this is why we got to get these documents back quick. So, let's look at CGI Merchant a little bit more. There is no indication that politics played a role in the offer by CGI Merchant and its chief executive and founder, Raul Thomas. Experts say the price, while high, is plausible on business grounds, as I said, because the hotel market is increasing. But some wondered how CGI will be able to turn a profit after paying such a high price. That last little line in the article there. That's it. That's the hook. How are they going to make money after paying so much for that hotel? You have to ask yourself if you think these people are dumb or evil. I bet on evil most times. It's possible they're both. But I don't think that a company run by Raul Thomas does dumb moves. Raul Thomas was a banking regulator. He was supervising international financial institutions in the 90s. By the way, when Putin was coming to power in Russia. That enabled him to nurture this, they say, on the company's profile of the man. They put it up publicly. Enabled him to nurture strong relationships worldwide. Guy was born in Kingston, Jamaica. He's an expatriate. So he set up a company in Miami. And he has, now we know, friends in the banking industry around the world. Does that include countries like Russia, where the oligarchs must do what Putin says? The building is a notorious cash sinkhole. So why is this company buying it? Okay, let's say they want a hotel. Fine. They think they can run it better than Trump. Well, they're probably not wrong. But why is he paying so much for it? $375 million? Oh my gosh. It's quite a bit of money. It's arguably overpaying for an underperforming hotel. But here's the thing. If CGI Merchant Group genuinely wanted the building, they would know they could get it for a song. So why would they pay so much for it? This is what we have to put pressure on investigators to find out. Not just with this, with all of Trump's business dealings. Because don't forget, in the end, we're looking for national secrets that have been stolen. I bring up this case, this sale in particular, not because I'm certain, we got him, but because it's the kind of thing that makes you wonder, why did they really pay that much? We really cannot assume innocence with this man anymore. We have to do the opposite. We have to assume corruption in everything he does, because everything he does is corrupt. Time and time again. He does not give a damn about the laws. So, if CGI Merchant Group was laundering money to hide the fact that Trump sold America's classified documents to a foreign power, this is how they do it. That's how they would do it, right there. If, say, Russia purchased national secrets, they wouldn't do it by writing a check to Trump. An oligarch would ask his friend to come over for lunch, his friend being Raul Thomas in this case. And he would say, I'd like you to help me out with something. I'd like you to buy this thing that Trump wants to get rid of. Don't worry about why. And if you do this, I think you'll find that this building you've wanted to build in Russia that we've held up will suddenly be approved. That's the way it would get laundered. If that is what happened, look for CGI Merchant Group to suddenly get a foreign asset that is worth more than $375 million. If that's what happened, that's what you should look for. That will be further evidence. And we'll know, by the way, wherever that foreign asset winds up being, we'll know what country has our secrets then. It may be too late to recover these at all. They may just be in foreign hands now. But this is why Trump needs to be behind bars. Stuff like this is going to keep happening. It's going to happen again and again because this man has no morality at all. He has no loyalty at all. He simply has greed. And he knows that he will not be held accountable. He knows no other way to operate than criminality. We need to be contacting the Justice Department regularly, telling them we see him, telling them we expect results. There's no reason Trump needs to be a free man right now. With either January 6th or the stolen SCI documents. These are both things that he can be put in jail, no bail for, to await trial. Too dangerous to leave him out. If he's acquitted in his trial, fine. But if this guy were a murderer, he'd be in jail. If he had killed 6 people with a knife instead of with 7 people with a knife instead of with a speech on January 6th, he would be in jail with bail taken away. If for some reason he was given bail and then he went and took another swing at somebody with a knife, he'd be arrested, put in jail, and definitely no bail allowed. That's the situation we're in right now. He's still doing the things he got arrested for. I don't know about you. I could use a palate cleanser. I got a new thing I want to start doing here. I'm calling it Leopards and Wolves. There's a Reddit community called Leopards Ate My Face. And it deals with... one moment here. And it deals with... instances of people supporting a cause or a company or policy that ends up turning around and doing the exact thing it said it was going to do to them and them suffering for it. It is hilarious, and as you can imagine, these days it's mostly populated by poking fun at right-wing psychopaths. Here's an Elon Musk supporter getting bit in the butt by his own community. This was posted by user Pokemaniac05, who shows what this person did. Yeah, says this person 11 days ago, Musk stands for free speech. It gets in the way of all diabolical plots to have a hero that hard to deal with. Okay, free speech warrior. And then in the Twitter subreddit, Twitter Blue is bugged. I just paid $8 and it won't let me upload a profile pic or be verified. Sorry, this post has been removed by the moderators of r/Twitter. Yeah, that's about right. Now, there's another community I think you should check out called Self-Aware Wolves. And this utter delight is for the once in a blue moon when people realize who they are, when they become self-aware. Sometimes it's when they're just on the cusp of it. Easy way to sum it up. If you've ever seen the Mitchell and Webb sketch, Are We the Baddies? Where a bunch of Nazis realize we might be the bad guys in this war. That's what we're talking about. Here it is, our daily pick for self-aware wolves. First of all, credit where it's due. That it's an adorable puppers. Very good buoy. Then the dog owner writes, Democrat voters simply lack the character to admit when they're wrong, which is a hell of a lot. They're weak. They continuously nurse their fragile egos by clinging to any spin/lies available that attempt to justify the despicable, dishonest nature of the left. They're liars. Oh boy. Oh gosh. This is like a picture in the dictionary level example of every accusation is an admission. Yeah. They're weak. Okay, Republican. They continuously nurse their fragile egos. Okay, Republican. Clinging to any spin/lies available that attempt to justify the despicable, dishonest nature of the right-wingers. Come on, you know, this guy has to know. It's too on the nose. I think what you are seeing there is a gentleman trying to deal with just come to grips with the reality of the cult he's in. It's a little painful to see, but it is also hilarious. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, I have had a blast heckling Trump with you guys, and I certainly hope that we are going to get some justice on these matters regarding the national security documents, as well as every other crime Donald Trump has committed. If you're wondering, and I brought up self-aware wolves for a very specific purpose there, if you're wondering how you can attack this situation the most effectively in the shortest amount of time, I guarantee you there is somebody in your community that is part of the Fox News cult propaganda fan base. Call them on it. Don't let them rest. They're already interrupting your life by supporting cult nonsense. You got to give it right back to them. Here's what you can do. Point out to them the next time Fox News comes up that Sean Hannity just admitted in court when he was under oath, so there's actually consequences for lying. He just admitted in court that he never for a moment believed in the election conspiracy theories regarding voting machines. Never believed it. Bring that up. Ask them what they think about that. Do they believe in these conspiracy theories because they watched Hannity? Mention to your dumbass family member, sorry, it's a fact, mention to them that Hannity knew when he was bringing on guest after guest after guest to spout these conspiracy theories, Hannity knew they weren't going to go anywhere. Hannity was certain that it was not the case. That's how you can work on this problem. Problem's not going to get solved by one hero swinging in, breaking through a window on a rope, and saving the day. It's going to be solved by all of us doing a little bit of work. That means having an uncomfortable conversation. It means deprogramming your unfortunate relative from the cult they're in. And look, I go a little bit hard on Republicans because they deserve it. But understand they're not all irredeemable. but they got to be deprogrammed. They are in a cult right now. You got to do the work. So, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing. This has been... Oof. Let's go back there a little bit. Odd stuff. This has been Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do, because you can do things. My name's Jake.
Talk to me nice, ain't about winning, don't talk to me twice. I don't play dice, I'll make a move on the board, it's precise. The fuck is the price? I took a fiddle and dipped in the ice. I took a call and now I'm on a flight. Crew heading east, got a booking tonight. First stop is Atlanta, I got breakfast plans at the Waffle House. Next up is Miami, I'm hitting South Beach, fuck we talking about. Show out, we in Brooklyn, I'm on Flatbush and we rocking out. Then a red eye to Los Angeles, got a rich bitch waiting on the couch. Life's gonna try to hold you back. They gon' tell you that you still got time. Any minute this could all fade to black. That's why we run it up. I want more, it's not enough. I ain't come for the runner up. I go win, I'ma win a cup. I go win, I'ma fuck it up. Ain't gon' lose, I'ma level up. I've been down, but I got tough. Hey, run it up, run it up, run it up.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it man, run it man. We was on 100 since run that. Tell me where the lunch at. I ain't eat lunch yet. Now you got a front that. Let me get a front toe.